Hi, I'm Greta, and this is my backstory. So, I grew up in a Christian home, attending church every Sunday, going on mission trips and retreats, praying before meals in bed, and so for me, there fortunately hasn't been a day when I have not known Jesus. But even though I always knew God, I was not always in an intimate relationship with Him. When I was young, it was really easy for me to be a faithful Christian. Decisions about my activities and church participation were not really mine, and I was also not yet at the age where I could fully grasp the gospel and appreciate God. But as I reached that age around high school and I began to form my own identity, I ended up placing God into simply a category. Along with things like school, sports, friends, family, God was merely just a part of my life. I still loved Him and maintained my faith, but He was not a central part of my life, and I was using those other things like good grades or fun friends or success in sports to mostly supply my happiness. I knew that a relationship with God was important, but I saw this more so as a duty or responsibility that amongst my busy schedule I didn't always have time for. And so, because of this, I went through a lot of ups and downs and plateaus in my spiritual life through high school. Then I got to college and things began to change. I knew that faith was important, but still just seeing it as a space in my schedule to be filled, I decided to join a Christian fellowship, and that was called Crew. I would attend weekly small groups, and I knew that I was not truly walking with the Lord at this time, but I tried to convince myself that my regular attendance to the small group and other Crew social events was enough to pass as being a good Christian. This act did not work for long though, and as I became more involved in Crew and made friendships with the girls and guys in it, I started to see a difference between their lives and mine. While I was merely coasting in my spiritual life, feeling dry and unsatisfied, they all had this desire for God and a true passion for His Word. I started to crave that same devotion, and by seeing their faithfulness, I began to rekindle my own relationship with the Lord. It was hard at first because I felt like I was giving up things in order to make time for Jesus. But as I began to spend more time in the Christian community and more time in prayer and in reading the Word, I started to see how wrong my thinking had been. I began to see how God, in contrast to everything else in my life, was the only stable part. I began to understand in a new way how great His love was for me and how deep His grace was. And as all these things became evident to me, I saw in myself that fire for Jesus that I had so wanted since joining Crew. I'm not saying that my relationship with God is perfect now, because it's something I have to work at every day, but that because of God's mercy, He was able to bring me back to having a close relationship with Him, even after I was the one to turn away. So that's my backstory. What's yours?